The college football experience Dantabase top 25/reaction show on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network is presented by WinBet. WinBet is now live in Arizona, Colorado, Indiana, Louisiana, Michigan, New Jersey, New York, Tennessee, and Virginia. From boosted parlays to in-game odds on every major sport, WinBet is what you need to win. Sign up today and bet $100. You win $100 at sportsgamblingpodcast.com/winbet. That's sportsgamblingpodcast.com/WYNNBET. So grab that thing today. And remember, folks, to let it ride.
Hey, everybody. Joe Theismann here. You're listening to SGPN. So do this. Let it ride.
Yes. Woo! Welcome to the college football experience. Dantabase top 25 ranking show / reaction show. 2 is 1 on this one. If you're wondering who the hell you're listening to, my name is Kobe Swinging Dantabase Dan, aka Pick Don D. That's not a pick. This is a pick.
He was raised in the land down under, where a man thinks on his feet, speaks with his fists, and lives by his wits.
When Dundee happened, he was a superstar.
I smoke and I drink and I don't have stress and I'm healthy.
I guess I'm healthy. I don't know. I was in College Station for a few days in Houston, just getting completely, destroyed. It was great. All right. So that is why this show is coming a little bit later than normal. We'll be on schedule next week. I mentioned this, to be fair, I mentioned this on the pick show last week. Still got people hitting me up saying, dude, where the fuck's the reaction show? Where's the top 25 show? I told you I was going to get completely cherry bombed, completely blitzkrieged down there at College Station. So, hey, we're back. Shout out to College Station. Keeping it. Look, that's a real fan base. All right. You had a losing record while we were there. They were 3-4. The fans showed up. And even though they lost the game, that place was packed. I saw someone grab a fucking like a rat. All right. In the crowd. Saw a video of that. I was there. It was fantastic. Everything about what a college experience should be. Shout out to Cameron Kerr as well. But yeah, I mean, that's the way college football is supposed to be. That's why, when done right, it's the best fucking sport on the planet. All right. And you get fans out there screaming, and just doesn't matter if you're 1-10 or 3-4 or or wanting to fire Jimbo Fisher or not. Shout out to College Station. And, hey, that's the inspiration of the college football experience right there. Live lit fan bases like that. And, yeah, it was a good time. It was a good game. It was a good game. I mean, just, A&M continues to struggle offensively, which happens to be Jimbo Fisher's forte. That's going to be a very interesting thing to see how, we sat in front of some A&M fans and, they thought a lot of players are going to transfer this offseason. So it kind of deflates that number 1 recruiting class. If everyone transfers, that remains to be seen. It also remains to be seen, like, do you buy out $86 million? No way, right? That's going to be fascinating to watch. There's also talk on the other side of this. You got Ole Miss, who's still alive to win the SEC West championship, and Auburn fires their, Brian Harsin and, hires a new athletic director. And now Lane Kiffin's being talked about as the lead candidate, despite still being in the mix for an invitational playoff spot. Essentially, they got it done though. Great game, and that's something to monitor. As I know we have some huge games this week. Remember, our pick show will be Wednesday, same time, about 5:30 Pacific time. Subscribe to the College Football Experience. Remember, we are on YouTube as well, youtube.com/the college experience. So look, before I get into the Dantabase top 25, let me react to the show, to the, the key games from a week ago. First off, on the weekday, was very surprised that Southern Miss whooped Louisiana's ass like that. I have had a hard time. I've had a hard time understanding the Louisiana Raging Cajuns this year. The over is I think cooked now on that. I did have a small wager on the over with Louisiana. But yeah, Southern Miss, Will Hall. Shout out to Will Hall, the only FBS head coach who wears a shirt and tie. Old school, baby. Old fucking school. Gotta love what Will Hall's doing there. I'm ready for a renaissance with that. Shout out to Nicholas Greenwell in the chat. He goes, my guy partied too hard at College Station, and now we get a Tuesday reaction show. Pretty much. But yeah, Southern Miss is an interesting story to watch. They're 5-3. He's quickly done a great rebuild. Remember, he came over from the Willie Fritz's staff down there at Tulane, and look at the way Tulane's playing. We'll be talking about them later on the Dantabase top 25. But what a good win against the Raging Cajuns down there in Hattiesburg. Thursday night, also Virginia Tech, NC State. That game was absolutely fucking terrible. I mean, yes, I bet Virginia Tech plus 14 or whatever it was. Yeah, 13.5 or 14. But I had the money line too. And Virginia Tech was up 21 to 3 with about I think like 14 minutes left, and they lost. Brutal loss. Absolutely fucking brutal loss there. 22-21 NC State wins. I have a under for NC State at 8.5 wins that I think is going to cash still, but that was obviously, they've been the luckiest team in college football this year. They got ECU missing every kick and every extra point against them. They had Florida State in the red zone, throw an interception when they were just about to win the game. And then the Virginia Tech game. All I need is 2 more losses. I think it's going to happen this week against Wake Forest, and then either to UNC or Louisville down the stretch, but having to sweat it a little more than I thought, but yes, they're still counterfeit. Then Utah, Washington State. That was an interesting one because, who knew Cam Rising wasn't going to play for the Utes. I rode Washington State plus the 7.5 that cashed. Who knows if it would have cashed had Cam Rising actually played. But that was pretty shocking. They were also depleted at running back. Huge win for the Utes there in Pullman. Friday night, you know what happened with my East Carolina Pirates.
We believe in the Pirates, in the spirit of ECU.
And shout out to ECU actually making a field goal. Wasn't pretty, but as long as it goes in, right? ECU now pretty much kind of controls their own destiny here. The only thing that could happen where they would not is as UCF plays Tulane, I think next week. But if ECU can take down Cincy and Houston, which who knows if they can do that, I think there's a decent shot they're gonna be playing for the AAC championship. So shout out to Mike Houston for getting that dub. Then how about the airport and Mike McIntyre, 42-34 against Louisiana Tech. We released college football coach rankings in the CUSA this past offseason, and a lot of people gave us shit for our rating on Mike McIntyre. Well, look what he's done in 1 year at the airport. All right. The airport is rolling right now. That's my airport music, baby. We are rolling, and Mike McIntyre and FIU are 4-4. Maybe the Hurricanes should have hired Mike Mack instead of Mario Cristobal. Big win there though. Big win. And then, okay, let's get to Saturday's games. Can we talk about friend of the program?
This is Jim Mora, and you're listening to SGPN. Let it ride.
Jim Mora Jr. is doing amazing things with the UConn Huskies. This is year 1. He walked into one of the worst rosters in college football. He quickly brought in some transfers, including a 4-star quarterback. and Taquan Roberson, who got out for the year in the first quarter of the first game, and you thought, oh, there's no way. They just beat Boston College, their first win ever against Boston College. They just beat them by double digits. 13. They shut down the BC offense, which, I know they're depleted at offensive line, but Jerkovic and Zay Flowers will be in the NFL. Great job by the Huskies. They continue to impress, and I love it. I love it. I'm here for it. I think Jim Moore Jr. is really going to make UConn good in the coming years. Hey, ACC, maybe you should expand and add UConn, but they probably wouldn't take the invite right now. Who knows? TCU West Virginia. This was an absolutely one of the worst beats I think anyone could have, as this TCU wins 41-31 in Morgantown. This was a 3-point game with 10 seconds left, 20 seconds. I don't even remember. But on 4th and 1, TCU throws a 30-yard touchdown. You had this game locked up. I lost my ass on this game. Brutal beat. Absolutely brutal beat. Saturday had some brutal beats. I'll be honest. Shout out to TCU though, as they continue to roll. Toledo, Eastern Michigan. This game was really, I didn't get a chance to watch this. By the way, I didn't really watch any of these games. I just was monitoring my phone every 10 seconds. And throughout the week here, I'm going to get a chance to watch a lot of these. But Toledo scores 10 in the 4th. They come back and take care of Eastern Michigan in a critical game. Huge loss for EMU. And I had EMU on the money line there, so I was hoping. I still covered the spread one, and then obviously Ohio State, Penn State. I didn't get eyes on it. I'll be watching that one later today. I got I guess a little bit of eyes on it, but Ohio State 44, Penn State 31. This game seemed fucking crazy because what I saw, Penn State had a 6-point lead, then Ohio State had a 20-point lead. They turned on the gas just like that. I know JT Tumaloa had a gigantic game, one of the best games you could ever have as a defender. Shouldn't be playing at Washington though, man. It's ridiculous. What are you doing? Or Washington State or Oregon. 44-31. Ohio State gets the win. We did get the cover there. We locked that one up. We got the cover with Penn State. Nicholas Greenwell in the chat saying FIU is about to get exposed by North Texas. Yeah. And how about Seth Luttrell in North Texas going into Western Kentucky, getting the dub? Seem like they're going to be contenders now in the CUSA. And then this one was the most brutal beat for me personally. The West Virginia TCU was bad. The West Virginia TCU was really bad, but Georgia Tech at Florida State. I took the 24.5. I had a large wager on Georgia Tech. First off, Florida State scores. Let's look at the scoring drive here. Florida State scores with 1 minute and 9 seconds left. Fuck you, Florida State. All right. They had this game. They were up by a ton. They score with 1 minute and 9 seconds left. So now my cover is out of reach unless Georgia Tech scores a touchdown and kicks an extra point. Well, they scored a touchdown on the final play of the game to make it a 24-point game. Well, guess what? I have 24.5. I'm sorry. No, it was a 23-point game. Wait, what was the final score in this one? What? Yeah. So no, it was a 25-point game. 25-point game on the Georgia Tech scores. If they kick the extra point, I win my bet. If they don't kick the extra point, I lose because I had 24.5. They did not. I hate you. I hate the world. And shout out to Serge in the chat who says it's as if winning on the road is hard. Pick Dundee. You're damn right. South Florida covered the big line against Houston. Houston's kind of found their footing, still alive in the AAC race. That's going to be interesting to watch down the stretch. Dana Holgerson, the used car salesman. My lock of Arkansas against Auburn. That thing cashed in. Let's go. All right. That was I feel like pretty easy money. And now, obviously they fire Harsin, but hope you cashed in, folks. Hope you cashed in. Oklahoma beats Iowa State. I was a bit surprised by that. I know they ran a critical fake field goal there, and I know shout out to my guy Scott Rochelle. Give him a follow as part of the NBA Gambling Podcast. But he brings up a question that I'm always baffled about too. We need to get a ref on here. Cause I saw this in the Kansas Iowa State game too, when Iowa State ran a fake field goal. Now this time it happened to be Oklahoma running the fake field goal against Iowa State. I'm so confused at the holder having both knees on the ground. So the holder had both knees on the ground. He grabbed the snap is there. They are not kicking it. It is a pitch. So why would that not be ruled down? Does anybody know about this rule? Because it doesn't make any sense to me, especially when you don't even kick the ball at all. Like, okay, if a kick gets blocked or something, maybe it makes sense to me. But I'm saying, like, once you are clearly doing a running play, I'm very confused about how the holder can have both knees on the ground, because he is essentially the quarterback in this scenario, and he's hiking the ball to himself and then pitching it out, just like a pitch would be to a running back. Very confused. But shout out to Oklahoma, as they've kind of, things have gotten a little more calm as they have a huge game with Baylor this weekend. Notre Dame 41, Syracuse 24. Now I took Syracuse on the show just because they're at home, but I thought Notre Dame might be able to fuck with them, because I kind of thought Syracuse was fool's gold a little bit. And I just think the style of ball that Syracuse plays, like, it's a perfect scenario for Notre Dame. Like, Schrader isn't going to rip you apart, with precision passes. It's going to be a kind of a ugly run game style, which Notre Dame's defense is good. And then another thing is Syracuse defense, probably a little bit of fool's gold from the ranking standpoint. Solid, but not setting the world on fire. Notre Dame gets the win. All of a sudden, the Irish are 5-3. And they got Clemson this week. There's a decent shot, if they can avoid upsets to Navy and Boston College, that they can end up 7-5. Not a great first year, but not an awful first year for Marcus Freeman. Syracuse on the other side of things, they have a game at Pitt this week. They might lose 3 of the next 4 games, but it doesn't matter. I think Babers has had quite an impressive year. Probably gonna end up 7-5, 8-4, something like that. Shout out to the Qs though, even though they lose by 17 in that filthy dome. Miami, Ohio whooped Akron's ass. Now that was a lock that me and NC Nick were on. I don't know. Miami, Ohio just looked good. Akron did not look good this game. And then one of the best games of the day, Miami and Virginia, 14-12. What? A couple overtimes, 3 overtimes, I believe. Unbelievable win by Mario Cristobal. He's lucky, because things would have got really stale had they things would have got very interesting had they lost to the Wahoos, which I think are the second worst team in the ACC. I think BC's the worst. Virginia's the second worst, or Virginia Tech. That will be settled in a couple weeks here. But Miami somehow gets the dub. They move to 4-4. I actually think Miami's going to be 5-7 this year. I don't think they're going to find a way to get to a bowl. I'd be surprised. Yeah. So Serge in the chat says, given that the holder's knee was down on the ground when he caught the ball and passed it forward, how's that legal? The short answer is the same way a field goal is legal after a holder catches a ball. That's per SB Nation. It still doesn't make any sense to me, because, okay, if you're going to kick the ball, that's a bit different to me, because the ball is kicked in the air. I would assume you shouldn't be able to put your knee down at any time. But to me, what is the difference between that and, well, then having your quarterback? I mean, how many times have we seen the quarterback ball, his knee touches the ground, whether it's a fumbled snap, whether it's whatever, or maybe he just trips on the offensive lineman's foot. What's the difference between that and the quarterback tripping on the foot of an offensive lineman and his knee hitting the ground and then blowing it dead right away? Doesn't make any fucking sense to me. Maybe you're right though. I mean, I'm not coming at you. I'm just saying the rule makes no sense to me. Just makes 0 sense to me. And I think if you're going to throw a fake, I think it should be in the rule book. Then if you're going to do a fake, that you should not be able to touch the ground with your knees, unless change the whole rules. I mean, I hate that knee down shit anyway. They should be, I like the NFL's rule on, like, you got to touch them. So, yeah, Anthony Eason goes, what happened to my Wake Forest lock? Yeah, I don't know. I haven't had a chance to watch the game, but I know they got their ass whooped by Louisville. I was in College Station completely shit hammered, but I will watch this week, throughout the week here. But yeah, I mean, I'm shocked. I was shocked at that outcome. Absolutely shocked at that outcome. So I got nothing for you. Nothing for you, at least right now. Unbelievable. Louisville's in like a strange team to me. Like Louisville is one of these teams where especially this season, I feel like they're a little more physical than I thought they would be from a defensive standpoint. But either way, it's a great win. That's a really great win. So yeah, I ate shit on that one. I'm a fucking idiot on that one. So next up, Charlotte. How about that? Me and NC Nick. Man, I should have sprinkled the money line there. But Charlotte 56, Rice 23. I thought they would play for their assistant coach. Thought they would play for their assistant coach. Rutgers 0, Minnesota 31. I took Rutgers plus 14. I didn't bet that, but still, that's Rutgers offense. Absolutely horrible. Absolutely horrible. Serge says, shit hammer. That's going to be my new Twitter handle. I like it. Give me a follow. All right. At TCE on SGPN. All right. Illinois 26, Nebraska 9. Shout out to the Illini. I mean, I know Mickey Joseph. I don't know what to expect from Nebraska, but that's still a tough place to go into and win. I know Nebraska sucks, but like to hold Nebraska to 9 points, Mark Whipple offense, I find that a great win. I mean, a pretty good win. Like the way they did it. I shouldn't say a great win because Nebraska's horrible, but holding them less than 10 points at home, I think is pretty impressive. Georgia State 31, ODU 17. That one I was a bit surprised there. I know ODU lost their tight end, Kuntz. I like to call him Kuntz, for the season, and he was like on the NFL radar. So that's a big loss for the Monarchs. New Mexico State 23, UMass 13. Hope you had the courage to go over 2.5 wins with me as I locked up the over on the Aggies and New Mexico State. Let's go. And I took them for this game. Let's go. SMU 45, Tulsa 34. I mean, kind of had a hard time projecting that one. I took Tulsa, so I was on the wrong side of that one. But I was on the right side of UCF taking down Cincinnati at the moon bounce. Knew that would happen. Speaking of bad beats and stuff, Oregon. So I had Cal, NC Nick, myself, and I think Patty C all had Cal plus 17.5. They lose by 18 to Oregon. Brutal. Absolutely brutal. I mean, Cal's terrible. I know what the starting QB got either knocked out of that game, I think, or benched. So that's tough. But yeah, I mean, they covered by a half a fucking point. There's some brutal beats. So, next up, we got Wake Forest 21, Louisville 48. I mean, that's an ass whooping that I did not see coming. I'll be honest. I felt really good. I almost had that as my number one lock. We do like an email blast to people. There's a thing where everyone gives out a newsletter. I had Arkansas as my number one lock against Auburn, but I'll be honest, behind the scenes there, when they were asking me, I was like, oh, it's either that or Wake. So I got very lucky from the newsletter point of view, but man, definitely ate shit on that one. App State 42, Robert Morris 3. Okay, move along. Kansas State. I was on the Wildcats. 48-0 Oklahoma State. Dude, let's be honest. Kansas State would have beat TCU last week had Martinez and Howard not gotten injured. You cannot convince me. That TCU would have been able to beat them with no, not buying it. Not fucking buying it. And my K-State to win the Big 12 ticket, still alive. Let's go, baby. Was shocked that Iowa scored 33 on Northwestern's defense. I know Northwestern sucks, but I just figured Iowa's offense is so bad and Northwestern's defense is good enough. Ate shit on that one, but I did cover Florida plus 22. Oh no, I got 23, I think, as they lost by 22 against Georgia. Got that cover. And then my lock, Temple plus 14. Boom. They lose in overtime. The Navy. Everett Withers, the former JMU coach that game. Yeah. North Texas. Wow, that was an impressive win. People gave us shit last week, this offseason for talking about how Seth Luttrell's a good coach. Don't look now, but North Texas is 5-4 and in a good spot to potentially play for the CUSA championship. Going to be fun to watch them down the stretch. I was on Missouri against South Carolina. I was on Missouri on the money line. They won 23-10. We knew South Carolina. Them having South Carolina ranked was a fucking joke. That's a fucking joke. Absolute fucking joke. And it shows how jaded the ranking system is. I mean, do they watch the games? Serge, I like TCU, man. I just thought K-State had Martinez or Howard because they were whooping their ass. They're up like 28-10. When Martinez only played 3 snaps, and Howard got taken out, and when they were up 18, right? Or maybe TCU scored 1 score and it was 11, but still, I feel pretty good about that. Had Howard stayed in the game. Missouri though, Drinkowitz. The bowl is still out, so they're 4-4. They're at Tennessee next week. Probably going to be 4-5 there. Then they have their SEC matchup against New Mexico State. 5-5. Oh, I'm sorry, they're home to Kentucky this week. They got to win this game because I don't think they're gonna. If they don't win this game, I don't think they're gonna make a bowl. And then things get interesting in Columbia, Missouri. Next up we have South Alabama 31, Arkansas State 3. Boom. We were on that one here with the Jaguars as they my over cashes. Boom. If you listen to our preseason locks episode, I had a great weekend because New Mexico State hit the over. I was over 2.5 wins there. South Alabama hit the over. I was over 5.5 wins there. And then Michigan State, who I locked up under 7.5 wins. They lost their 5th game of the season. Boom, all 3 cashed. Let's fucking go. Colorado State 10, Boise State 49. Boise's got it going again, folks. Boise, this is what's hilarious. Even in a down year for Boise, they're going to find a way to win the Mountain West, I think. I know they still got that matchup in Laramie pending as Wyoming continues to win, but Boise gets it done. USC 45, Arizona 37. Arizona covered for me. The refs were fucking awful in this game. I saw some clips. Obviously, the running clock right before half the refs holding the football, letting the clock run while it's a first down, which makes no fucking sense. So I think Lincoln Riley has a very good argument there about that, but also a terrible roughing the passer on Caleb Williams. That was just ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous roughing the passer. Tennessee 44, Kentucky 6. I didn't think it would happen like that. Shout out to GBO Farms because I look like a fucking idiot taking the points. I thought Tennessee would win the game, but I took Kentucky in the points. Wow. Okay. Tennessee for the natty. Let's go. Coastal Carolina 24, Charlotte 13. Hopefully you listen to us here. We were on Coastal money line. UAB 17, Florida Atlantic 24. And that's shocking to me. That one's shocking to me because UAB continues to. I think they it's going to be interesting to see what they do on the coaching front this offseason. It's going to be very interesting because I don't think they're playing to the amount of talent that is on that roster. Baylor 45, Texas Tech 17. Hope you listen to me here. I was on Baylor. This was a fringe lock. I didn't lock it up. I should have. I did bet it for real though. Dave Aranda, I just knew he was going to fuck up. I knew he was going to fuck up Texas Tech. That style of ball just does not work. Ole Miss 31, A&M 28. We were at this game. It's a push. Colorado covered against Arizona State as Arizona State wins though and keeps their over alive somehow. If anyone took the over there. Michigan State 7, Michigan 29. We covered, locked it up. We covered barely, but we covered it. And obviously I cashed in on the under on Michigan State. Hope you listen to me. There's Michigan State fans, by the way, when we dropped that episode on Michigan State, when I locked up the under, I had like 1,000 Michigan State fans tweeting me, calling me a fucking idiot. How we looking? How we looking? There was also that dust up in the locker room. We had a crazy fight. I don't understand what's happening. Everyone's saying, the locker room. It's the locker room's fault. Really? They've only been playing football there like 100 fucking years. Couldn't figure out a way to not have a crazy altercation. I'll be honest though. It's a rivalry game. I'm a fan who's disconnected from it. This only makes me want to watch next year that much more. So obviously you don't want to see a situation where a guy's got his helmet off and other people are swinging their helmets. But at the same time, if you were to tell me, that game happening, Colby, would you like to see a fight between Michigan and Michigan State in the locker rooms as they're walking up the? Yeah, sign me up. Now, sure, I wouldn't want to see a guy without his helmet, like 1 on 50. You know what I mean? Like fucking Roadhouse. You know what I mean? Like no, but does enhance the rivalry and make it better. Got to be honest. But yeah, legal action. I know 4 players got suspended. Everyone's talking about this is the worst thing that ever happened. Yeah, I mean it was terrible, but I don't understand why they don't wait. Like one team should go in first, then the other team, right? Just an idea. Just an idea, folks. Serge says, you think Aranda is a legit candidate for the Auburn job? I think it is, but obviously he's got ties to Mike Leach, and obviously Auburn just hired Mississippi State's athletic director who hired Mike Leach. So I wouldn't be surprised if Coach Leach has a good relationship with him and says, hey, Aranda. But I'll also be honest that I don't know that Aranda takes him. Aranda's an interesting guy. And they mentioned him for something last year, but he said he wanted to stay at Baylor. I don't know that he's that crazy, but he's a different guy. Like if you ever listen to the interviews of Dave Aranda, kind of a soft-spoken guy, and I think it's kind of different. I don't know that he would want that smoke at Auburn. I know that sounds crazy. You could say more money, which obviously they could offer more money than Baylor, but I don't know that is what drives Dave Aranda. You know what I mean? So I don't know that he would take that job. I really don't know that he would. Now, does it make sense? Sure. I see the connection. I think it would be a great hire for Auburn. But I also think the Lincoln Riley and Hugh Freeze talk, that fits Auburn a little bit more to me. Like Dave Aranda is like a quiet, soft-spoken guy. I don't know if that necessarily. I don't really picture that at Auburn, but obviously he's a great coach. I think actually one of the most underrated coaches in America. So, Pitt 24, North Carolina 42. I was surprised to see I was wrong there on that, but I'm happily wrong. I didn't bet this game, but I have North Carolina plus 700 to win the Coastal, and it looks like pretty much a done deal. Knock on wood here, as long as they can not lose. They'd have to lose a couple times, and then Duke went out, I think. Middle Tennessee 24, UTEP 13. I was all over the place on this game. I think I actually got this correct. Didn't bet it. One of the games of the night, San Diego State, Fresno State. This game was fucking bananas. Fresno State scored 14 points in the final minute of the game. 2 onside kicks. No. They scored and got an onside kick. And the onside kick they got was like the greatest onside kick ever because they recovered the ball at like the 35 of San Diego State. Crazy game. I think it's Brady Hoke's another one to monitor. As San Diego State goes to 4-4, they got that new stadium. And I get it. They were in the Mountain West Championship a year ago. So you would think like, no way they fire this coach. But I'm just saying, like, I pay attention to the message boards there, and it seems like a lot of fans unhappy with Brady Hoke. I would assume they give him another year, but something to monitor with the Aztecs there. Stanford 13, UCLA 38. Nice win for UCLA as they continue to roll. San Jose State 35, Nevada 28. This is a bit closer than I would have imagined, but San Jose State continues to roll. And then Hawaii locking it up. Hawaii got the cover on the island against Wyoming. Backdoor cover. Game wasn't as close as the score indicates, but hey, I'll take it all day long. All right. Well, look, now we're going to talk about the Dantabase top 25. All right. But before I do that, I want to tell you that the college football experience Dantabase top 25 /reaction show this week is brought to you by WinBet. WinBet is now live on in Arizona, Colorado, Indiana, Louisiana, Michigan, New Jersey, New York, Tennessee, and Virginia. And from boosted same game parlays to live in-game odds on every major sport, WinBet is what you need to win. Sign up today. Bet $100, win $100 at sportsgamblingpodcast.com/winbet. That's sportsgamblingpodcast.com/WYNNBET. Yeah, I mean, let's get into this. I mean, so first off, we're back on schedule. You will have a reaction show Saturday night. You will have a Dantabase Top 25 Monday next week. All right. This was the 1 week of the year where I knew it because we were going to be traveling back from College Station. And I also knew we were going to be tailgating for like 30 fucking hours. So we knew it. We knew it. But we're back on schedule and go listen to our Maction episode that just came out for the Mac games Tuesday and Wednesday. And remember, Wednesday night we'll also have our pick show, same time as normal. DFS show Thursday, FCS show Thursday. We're back on schedule, baby. And don't forget college basketball experience. Previews are rolling over there. Go check out, those previews, but the season tips off next Monday, and subscribe to the college basketball experience because we'll be here every night of the season, every single night of the college basketball season, talking best bets, talking best matchups. You got to subscribe. All right. College basketball is the greatest. Let's go. All right. Let's get into the Dantabase top 25. At number 25, I'm going to go with the Syracuse Orangemen. I'm not sold on this team by any means. But once again, if you're new to this podcast, the Dantabase top 25 is strictly based off of resume. So it's not about whether I think this team is going to win out and be a really good team, or because one of the things that I find most annoying about the sport that we love with which college football, so we don't have a large playoff, and there's so much subjectivity that it makes zero sense. There's so much difference in schedules that it makes no sense. It's just hard to compare. And until we have a large playoff, which casts a large net, so we can really find out who the best team is. I mean, would Georgia have won it last year? Maybe. But I think it would have been interesting to see, some other teams played a lot more road games. You know what I mean? So, and you could say, well, these other teams played this many FBS teams, this many, you can go on and on and on about the way things shake out differently. And it just doesn't make a lot of sense to me to try to formulate a system with 131 teams where you're trying to guess. And I think that it's clearly a conflict of interest by all these people. It's absolutely ridiculous. The ranking system, even the CFP ranking system, completely ridiculous because owned by ESPN. ESPN owns the SEC network, the ACC network. It's just ridiculous. But anyway, I have Syracuse at number 25 in the nation. And really, when you look at Syracuse's resume, I know they just got whooped by Notre Dame, right? Second loss. The NC State win, though, looks a little bit better, even though I think NC State sucks. NC State beats Virginia Tech. That win looks better. All right. The Clemson win. Well, Clemson had a bye week, so they didn't. First off, they didn't beat Clemson. They lost to Clemson, but Clemson didn't look bad this week because they didn't play. So that loss doesn't look. It still looks like a great loss. Another thing is what Purdue. Purdue is still a good win. That is a good win. Louisville win looks a lot better after what they did to Wake Forest. The UConn win looks a lot better after what they just did to Boston College. The resume speaks for itself. I think they're the 25th best team in the nation based off of resume. At number 24, I got the Washington Huskies. And this is an interesting one because they're 6-2, and I kind of think this team, like, if you lined up Syracuse and Washington right now, I actually have no idea who's winning that game. I think I lean Washington, but that would be an interesting bowl game because I honestly don't know. But when you look at the resume is not great. It really isn't. They have 0 wins against a team with a winning record. They have 0, but they also have. Well, actually, I think I'm convincing myself that Syracuse should be 24 and Washington be 25th. The only thing is that Washington's played a much better FCS. Yeah. So Washington's wins are Kent State, Portland State, Michigan State, UCLA. Or no, they lost to UCLA. They beat Stanford, and they beat Arizona and Cal. All right, sold. This is what we're doing. We're changing the shit. At number 25, we have the Washington Huskies, and at number 24, I am putting in the Syracuse Orangemen, because I do think that that resume is a little bit better. I don't know what I was thinking when I looked at that before. Anyway, I blame that on Texas A&M and me being shit hammered. All right. Next up, we got at number 23, the Penn State Nittany Lions. All right. Tough loss. Got to watch the game. Got to watch the tape. But I know that game was closer than the score indicated. Because like in the fourth quarter, didn't Penn State have the lead? I feel like we were looking at this at the tailgating thing, like, you know, Penn State's got the lead in the fourth, but at one point they were down also like 21. It's fucking insane. Shout out to Ohio State to get the dub. I think Penn State, when you look at their two losses, at home to Ohio State, undefeated, on the road at Michigan, undefeated. I know that you look around after that and you say, okay, well, they beat Purdue. Purdue has a winning record. That win at Auburn, a tough environment, but Auburn's not very good. So the resume, Northwestern, the Minnesota one looks all right, I guess. Yeah. So Minnesota and Purdue is what they're clinging to. The Ohio one, Ohio has a winning record too. So 3 teams with a winning record there. I think that's fairly put. I think they should be ahead of Syracuse and Washington. At number 22, I got the Coastal Carolina Chanticleers. And when you look at this one strictly comes down to the fact that this team really only they haven't been super impressive. Go back to look at the Gardner-Webb games, but I'll tell you this. I do think Coastal Carolina's resume is improving. All right, first off, they go to on the road and beat Marshall. Marshall's got to win against Notre Dame. All right. Marshall's a weird team, but that was a great win for Coastal Carolina. Now their lone loss is to a team with a losing record in ODU. It's a bad loss, and it wasn't even close. They lost by 28. But I'll tell you this: the win over Georgia Southern is continuing to look good. The win at Georgia State is looking better and better. The win against Buffalo is looking fantastic as Buffalo's gotten red hot, and then the win against Army, what is they're 3-4 now, so that win's looking better as they skunk ULM the other day. It's not a great resume, but they only have one loss. They're 7-1. They're competing for the Sun Belt Championship, so I do have them at number 22. I think the Sun Belt's a good conference too. I think you could actually make a case. I think the Sun Belt, if they did a Sun Belt ACC challenge. So right now, what? UNC is the second best team in the ACC. UNC won at App by 2 in a fucking crazy game. But App might not be the best teams. I mean, look, I think Troy, South Alabama, Georgia Southern, Coastal, and App are all in that mix. And not far after that is Marshall, JMU. Actually, JMU's in that mix too, because JMU, yes, they have 2 losses, but one of them was out their starting quarterback, Todd Centeio. Either way, I got Coastal Carolina at 22. At 21, I got the Troy Trojans. What a great story they've been this year. You know, you look, brand new coach. So the first game was at Ole Miss. That was a loss, tough loss there, because I think that's a tough opponent to give yourself. Ole Miss only has 1 loss. I do think they're kind of overrated personally, but it's tough for your first game as a head coach to go into Oxford, Mississippi, and get a dub there. And then their only other loss is the Hail Mary to App State. So Troy has a win against South Alabama, has a win against Marshall, has a win at Western Kentucky, which is a decent team, has a win against Southern Miss, who's a good team. I like that resume. So I got the Troy Trojans at number 21. I know they have 2 losses. Chanticleers only have 1. Troy's resume is a lot better than Coastal Carolina's, though. At number 20, I got the Oregon State Beavers as they. Hey, the Beavers are good, man. If they are one quarterback away, in my opinion, from being like a top 10 caliber team. I really believe that. They have a huge game this Friday night at Washington. They're 6-2. Obviously they had the bye week, but so they're moving up by default. But and I know you look at the resume, that win against Boise State continues to look better. The win against Fresno looks better. The win against Montana State, who's good in the FCS, looks impressive. The win against Stanford, okay, Stanford lost this weekend. The win against Washington State, they lost this weekend or this past Thursday. So it's not an amazing resume, but it's good enough. And the fact they're 6-2, and I actually, man, I really like every spot on this team except the quarterback spot. The quarterback spot is what is killing this team. So will be interesting to see. Is Coastal better than UTSA? Says Serge. No, I would take. I think I would take UTSA, but I think Coastal's resume right now is with one loss. It's better than UTSA's. I think. I think it's close though. I think it's close because Coastal's resume is not that great, but the fact they only have one loss, UTSA has two. I do think UTSA would probably beat them though. If I had to pick that'd be a great game too. Remember that COVID year when they did Coastal BYU and they quickly did that game? I wish that we could see that in college football. Like, give me a 13th game, not a bowl game, because bowl game you have all these fucking players out. Just give me a playoff game with that. How about that? But yeah, I have Oregon State at number 20. At number 19, I got the LSU Tigers, and I'm excited. I mean, first off, they have a huge game against Bama this weekend. They're still alive to win the SEC the SEC West. You know, to go to the SEC championship. That would be an amazing story if they were able to pull off this win. And Baton Rouge gets lit, so you never know. It's not like Bama's look at Bama in these away games. At Texas, they should have lost. The refs fucking Quinn Ewers gets injured, but also the refs fucking completely gave that game to fucking Alabama. And I hate Texas more than anybody. Then the game at Arkansas, that thing was knotted up late in that game. I mean, they were blowing out Arkansas like 28-0, I feel like. But Arkansas battles back, ties it up. Now they did separate and then end up covering. Then obviously they have first off, they have a home game against A&M, but came out of the final play. But then the at Tennessee game, which they lose. So yeah, LSU. I'm sitting here on a ticket for LSU over 6.5 wins. So I think I'm going to cash this thing with that UAB game. I know, or the A&M game. That would be amazing for me. So yeah, shout out to the LSU Tigers. They're ahead of schedule a little bit, even though they don't really look it. I feel like when you watch an LSU game right now, they don't look like a great team to me, but the record is the record. And I do think they're improving every week. So shout out to them. At number 18, I have the Utah Utes. All right. Great win without like your whole fucking team. Playing DFS on Thursday night was a nightmare. With Tavion Thomas. Not going to happen. I'm going to go with the back. Oh, and he's out too. Oh, let me go with the Cam Rising. Oh, he's out. That was fucking bonkers. Good luck to anyone that plays DFS, because that was just giving away money. The Utes, though, they're sitting there at 6-2 with their 2 losses to being the one at Florida to open the season, which I still feel like they were the better team that game, but lost. And then the one against at UCLA, where UCLA actually was the better team. They beat USC. That win's fantastic. They also, here's the thing though, is that they only have because Washington State is 500. Yeah. So they have 4 wins against 500 or better. So, all right, that's good enough. I think that they're like, what is LSU's best win? I would take Utah to beat LSU if they played tomorrow. I would. I really would. So I got Utah at number 18. Number 17, I got the Ole Miss Rebels. once again, though, I this is not based on what I think because I think Utah is probably better than Ole Miss too. But I'll tell you this: watching that game live, man, Ole Miss running back room is fucking good, and they got a huge game. They got a bye week, and then they play Bama. Ole Miss resume is not good. Besides, they have the Troy win. Besides the Troy win, okay, I guess you could say the Kentucky win. They're 5-3, so they have 2 wins against teams with a winning record. Everyone else after that sucks. I mean, honestly, every other win they have, and you even got to wonder, like with Louisville playing better. So Kentucky's 5-3. They're at Missouri this week, which I think they can win. So 6-3. Home to Vandy 7-3, but I don't know. They could lose at Missouri. I think that's a game, and then they get Georgia and Louisville, so they could lose. You know, I think those two potentially, even though I feel like they're better than Louisville. But either way, Ole Miss, I think you have to put them there right now. They won at A&M. I guess you could argue Utah should be ahead. Actually, I think you're right. World, this is me thinking. All right, I'm gonna switch Utah to put Utah at number 17 and Ole Miss at number 18. Let's do that because I think Utah's resume is better. Like Ole Miss doesn't have the win. Like that win against USC is better than anything Ole Miss has. The win against Oregon State is better than anything Ole Miss has from a record standpoint. I know you could say, well, Kentucky's better than Oregon State. I don't think I agree with you, but I think that would be a nice game. I think I would lean Oregon State. So at number 17, I'll do Utah. At number 16, I got the UCLA Bruins. I understand they didn't move up any and they beat Stanford, a Power 5. That's just the way things shook out. It was a impressive win, a good win, and their out of conference schedule is a fucking joke. But once again, that wasn't all on them. Michigan canceled a game at UCLA. And that South Alabama win continues to look decent. Bowling Green is 4-4, so I guess all right. But that resume is not great. You have the Utah win and the Washington win though. And that to me is better than that's better than what a lot. It's better than LSU's resume, I think. But I do think that it's getting pretty thin as far as the line there. I had to put UCLA above Utah though, because UCLA smacked them. So at number 16, I got the UCLA Bruins. At number 15, I got the Oklahoma State Cowboys. Woo! I was on K-State. What an ass whooping. What an ass whooping. Oklahoma State, I knew coming into Manhattan. And they didn't even have Adrian Martinez. K-State whooped their ass. But Oklahoma State's other losses and overtime loss to TCU's undefeated. So I think the resume speaks for itself. So I got the Cowboys at number 15. At number 14, the Liberty Flames. Yes. This team continues to roll. I mean, they play Arkansas this week. That's going to be fun to watch. But they're 7-1, and I get it. The Wake loss looks a little worse because they went for 2 in the win against Wake. That was their lone loss. But I got to give it up to Hugh Freeze. Might be questionable with some of the coaching things outside of football, recruiting tactics. But hey, they've had quarterback injuries. They were like on their 3rd string quarterback, and they continue to win. I know they had the bye week this past week, but and I know that resume, I guess the win at Southern Miss looks better, but the UAB win doesn't look as good. The Wake loss doesn't look as good. And even that BYU win doesn't look as good because ECU wins. So something to pay attention to. If they can win at Arkansas, that'll be very interesting to see if I can get them into the top 10 based on resume there. At number 13, I got the Wake Forest Demon Deacons. And yeah, what the fuck was that? The Clemson loss is actually helping them right now because Clemson's undefeated. if Clemson was to lose against Notre Dame, I think Wake Forest would drop much further back. But yeah, that was a what the fuck? That was a Lou Holtz game of the week right there. Where is my sound drop?
Well, I don't get break the head cold, but they're counting down 7-6-5.
I mean, did anyone see that one coming? I don't think so. But Wake goes to so now Wake has 2 losses. They beat Liberty by 1. Liberty's got 1 loss. I put them ahead of Liberty, but I do think you can make a case that their wins, I guess the Florida State win continues to look good for them. Besides that, the resume is not very strong. I think you can make a case that actually, I mean, the Clemson loss is like one of the best things they have going for them right now. Overtime, double overtime loss to a team that's in the top 5. I think there's a strong chance, even if they win this next week at NC State, they could end up losing spots based on the resume here. I got Wake Forest at number 13. At number 12, got the Tulane Green Wave. Wow. I mean, what a great season. Willie Fritz. Hey, Colorado, just an idea. Maybe you give this guy a call. Give him an interview, at least. They were up 28-0 on Memphis. I know Memphis came back and almost covered that game, but had a bye week. The ECU win looks a lot better. ECU beats BYU in Provo. The Houston win continues to look better. The Southern Miss loss continues to look better. The K-State win continues to look better. So the resume actually looks somewhat solid, short of like what the UMass game and the South Florida game. So I got the Green Wave at number 12, and that's going to be very interesting down the stretch. Look at this schedule here. They're at Tulsa, which is a sneaky game this weekend because it's a look ahead spot because they have UCF, SMU, and Cincy on deck. That's awesome. Fantastic. Going to be very interesting to watch the AAC race down the stretch. At number 11, I got the Oklahoma State Cowboys. Wait, do I have Oklahoma State twice? Did I fuck that up? I think I fucked up my my rankings here. Huh. Where is my list here? Do I have Oklahoma State twice? I think I have Oklahoma. So I messed up there on Oh yeah. Yeah, Kansas State. I'm sorry. I had Kansas State there at number 11, the Kansas State Wildcats. And I had them ahead of Tulane because I get it. Tulane won in Manhattan. Tulane only has 1 loss. K-State has 2, but the strength of schedule that K-State's played a lot different than Tulane's. So that's my logic there. And they've done it with backup quarterbacks and stuff too. So shout out to Kansas State. I actually believe they would only have 1 loss. I talked about this earlier. They were up in a game where they went down to their 3rd string quarterback. I believe they would probably only have 1 loss had that not happened. And 48-0 against isn't that the largest defeat a top 10 team's ever taken? That's crazy. That's crazy. That's got to score points there. K-State at number 11. At number 10. Well, before I get to the top 10, I want to tell you folks out there that, hey, we're on YouTube. College Football Experience is on YouTube, and the College Basketball Experience. We come together as one on YouTube, youtube.com/the College Experience. Also, the College Baseball Experience will be a part of that too. Subscribe to all 3 of those podcast platforms independently, but we are on YouTube. And guess what? The Sports Gambling Podcast, the thing that started it all for us here at this network, they're on YouTube. All right. And they're giving you a chance to win your choice of either an autographed Lawrence Taylor jersey or an autographed Brian Dawkins jersey. The contest is completely free to enter. Subscribe to youtube.com /sports gambling podcast. Comment on a video. Each video is a new chance to win. Turn your notifications on so you don't miss the SGPN contacting you when they pull the winner. So once again, subscribe youtube.com /sports gambling podcast.com. All right. The top 10 is here. I got the Oregon Ducks at number 10. I mean, Is there a crazier scenario for the Ducks than losing the way they did week 1 and then looking the way they've done, been since? I mean, short of that Wazoo game, which I thought they should have lost, they've really looked pretty dominant in every other performance. So the win against UCLA continues to look good. The win against Wazoo still looks all right, as their record's all right. The win against BYU does look a little worse, but the loss to Georgia continues to look solid as Georgia rolls everybody right now. I feel like the Stanford win looks a little worse. Arizona win looks a little worse, but I don't know. I feel like that resume with the wins and the way they've won should be there at number 10. At number 9, I got the Illinois Fighting Illini. Why do I have Illinois above Oregon? Well, I can tell you why. Because Oregon lost by 46 to Georgia. Yes, Georgia's the top team in the land, some would say. But Illinois lost by 3 at a terrible Indiana team. But it was in the final play of the game, or in the final seconds of the game, in the game that they were up majority of the game. I know Georgia's better than Indiana, but I also think that has to mean something. And I also think when you look elsewhere at things, now I get it. Illinois hasn't played world beaters, like you look and say, well, what's the Illini's best win? They just won at Nebraska. They're not any good. Well, I mean, Iowa's 4-4. Illinois beat Iowa, right? You could say the Wyoming win looks better, as Wyoming is in contention to win the Mountain West Championship. Okay, Virginia sucks. The Wisconsin win's all right. Though the Minnesota win's all right. They're doing what they have to do. I know they get Michigan State this week, so it's not going to be a great team there. But they close with Purdue and Michigan, and then Northwestern. Obviously, the Purdue and Michigan games are huge. I think they have a better resume. You could argue this, though. I'll be fair. At number 8, I got the USC Trojans. Yes. Fight on, as they're doing. USC with a nice win, even though they didn't cover in Tucson. They continue to win. They continue to win, and they aren't going to be tested much lately because they got Cal and Colorado next. Actually, the only really good team they play left this season is UCLA. Notre Dame. It's 5-3, but I mean, shit, Notre Dame could easily be 5-5 by the time they play them or something like that. I don't know. I think USC's got that resume there, though. I mean, I know they got some breaks from the Pac-12 scheduling, not giving them back-to-back away. They also don't play Washington or Oregon. But it is what it is. It is what it is. At number 7. Alabama Crimson Tide. I do have them as the top 1-loss team in the country, and they didn't play this week. They're on bye. LSU game pending. The resume this past week, Texas was on bye, so that win didn't improve. Arkansas win got a little bit better. Arkansas whooped Auburn. The loss to Tennessee continues to look all right as Tennessee rolls Kentucky. So, the resume did, I guess, get a little bit better there, except ULM, right? So I would say, I'd say that's that makes sense there at number 7. At number 6, though, I have this team dropping back despite being undefeated. Michigan. Well, how can I drop them back? They just whooped Michigan State's ass. Well, Michigan State's not a good team, and also, you'll get my point in a second here, but. So Michigan's best wins right now. It's actually a pretty shitty resume. Penn State and Maryland. 2 good wins. I guess the Iowa win looks a little bit better after Iowa takes care of Northwestern. So at number 6, I got the Michigan Wolverines. At number 5, the team that hopped them, Ohio State. All these people talk shit about how I have Ohio State behind Michigan. Well, no, not anymore, because Ohio State went on the road and won. And now they've been to, so Michigan's road wins are Indiana and Iowa, right? None of those teams have a winning record, but now Ohio State has 2 wins on the road at Michigan State, at Penn State, and that Penn State road win. Penn State's 6-2, so I do think that resume is better. Combine that with the out of conference schedule, which Ohio State is way better. The Notre Dame win looking better and better. The Toledo win looking better and better. And you have Ohio State at number 5 over Michigan. At number 4, see, my top 4 haven't changed. So at number 4, I do have the Georgia Bulldogs, who did win against Florida. I thought about moving them to 3. Still think there's a solid chance if they win this week. Well, if they win this week, they could move it to number 1. But their resume, I think, still right there neck and neck with Clemson's. Obviously, the Wake loss hurts Clemson's resume some. Syracuse loss hurts Clemson's resume some. So I thought about it, but it will happen this next week anyway. So if Georgia wins, and then at number 2, I got the TCU Horned Frogs. They win on the road. They continue to win on the road. I know West Virginia is not a great team, but hey, a win is a win. They did it by double digits, and boom. And at number 1, we got the Tennessee Volunteers. All right, they haven't nothing changed in the top 5. So, Cutter Todd in the chat says Ohio State. I'm in Happy Valley at night is a different outcome. Probably true. And that's a damn shame that the Big Ten and Fox ruined that shit. They also ruined that with Michigan, Iowa too. Like Michigan at Iowa, give me that at night. That's a much harder game. Give me that night, and also give me a little later in the year. But they open the. I get it. Sometimes you got to play it wherever. If you're truly being random, then maybe right when you open Big Ten play. But regardless, give me that game at night. Come on. But yeah, that's the Dantabase top 25. Tennessee continues to roll. They're super impressive against Kentucky, and that's the recap show, folks. Remember, check out the college basketball experience as those previews continue to roll on, and remember that Wednesday night we will have the pick show for Week 10 college football. Me, Patty C, and NC Nick, 5:30 Pacific, 8:30 Eastern. And then, we'll have the DFS show and FCS show coming this week. So subscribe, check us out. And exciting time to obviously this time of year is great, especially when you add in college hoops coming and all the other good shit that's happening in this, whether you're NFL or NBA or NHL, fucking World Cup, all this good stuff. It's a good time. Good time to be in sports. Folks, subscribe to the Sports Gambling Podcast. All right. Check us out. And first off, give us a follow on Twitter at TCE on SGPN. And I'm on Twitter at the Colby D. Give me a follow. But more importantly, can you get over to iTunes and give us a 5-star review? I mean, come on. We give you all this content. We got Maction previews for Tuesday and Wednesday out. Takes 2 minutes out of your day. Help us help you. All right. Honestly, sponsors always tell us they like to look at that shit. So come on, please get over there and do it. Also the Discord, come talk college football with us, really any sport you like. We have it in there. Could be a fucking Baja 500 going on in Mexico. I'm sure there's a channel for that shit in there. Even food, people are talking food and stuff in there. So check it out. I mean, they all have their own little channels. So like you click on the college football channel, you'll talk college football with us or college basketball. Let's go. So sportsgamblingpodcast.com/Discord. Get the SGPN app. It's free to download in the App Store, Google Play Store. And let's go. I feel like this week is going to be an awesome lineup. So let's go. All right. This is the college football experience Week 10 reaction show and Dantabase top 25 show. You better start thinking about yours. And we out of here.
Yeah, it's got me thinking about the good shit. The minute that I seen your grill again, it made me good trip. Good dog to mind back like dog will wind that. Man, I didn't get mad when you gave me the can back. But The comings on was strong. Now my shit's coming along, you know the song. The truth is I'm pretty much on fire again. It's heating up for real, I'm alive again. And that's the attraction factor. Vancouver, Michigan with my rap disaster. Yeah, you know you want it how you want it. No need to trip cause I got it, doggone it. It's all yours and the extras too. All the super music and the sex for who? Just get it straight cause he caught me in a good mood. Let me demonstrate what this time of year could do. Yeah, sing it.